Welcome back to the Culturally Distinct Podcast. This is your boy Black Adam. I'm back in the episode. Y'all see me, what's going on. Yes, I did say Black Adam. Most of you guys know me as Mr. DJ KO, but I am Black Adam, guys. I'm glad you guys tuned in to the show. Glad you guys, tuned back in with me. Last week was a great show. Last week we went to the gala, the Chauncey Glover Gala.
Yeah.
It was real nice. Shout out to Dr. Christina Porter for coming up, for shouting out Chauncey Glover and his works and everything that he does and did while he was here in Houston, also in LA. Much love to you guys. I'd like to give a big shout out to my sponsor, 605 Adult Beverages, Call Audio, and Real Core Universe. Much love to you guys. Shout out to India. What's going on, India? How you doing?
Good.
You got a haircut?
Yeah, I did.
I see. Okay, you must got a date. Remember last week I was trying to get India a date? Y'all remember that, right? I'm just saying.
Why
can't you
just keep it tight?
Thank you.
Because
thank you, sis. Like,
let's keep it tight.
We on Operation Getting India a date.
No, we know whose operation
for the summer.
Is this?
I'm saying for the summer.
For the summer.
This is
so
when you
now
travel.
I'm just seasonal. Like,
I'm just saying.
what's going on?
Sounds like it's a situationship.
You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on for the summer.
I don't want
You want to go to Cancun? Well, not Cancun, Mexico right now. It's kind of hot. But you don't want to go to like Belize or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Can I take myself?
Go ahead. Okay. You could. You're right. You could.
Yeah.
But it's better if it's free. Hey.
There ain't nothing for free.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Okay.
There ain't nothing.
Okay.
Exactly.
Nothing. Okay.
$3.99. So guys, look, that voice that you hear in the background. So she already done started all the way from Brooklyn, New York, and she done came to Houston.
Time out.
Oh, I gotta stop. I gotta reel it in.
Bronx.
Oh, that's right.
Right, because you can't get that Mexican.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
can't. No.
So-
That's like you saying I'm from Beaumont, but I'm really from Houston.
Right.
It's not the same though.
I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx. Originally, I haven't been there in a minute, minute and a half. But
Well, hip hop began, right? The LL Cool J's, the Cool Hercs, and everything.
I
Yeah,
LL Cool J's Queens. So just don't try to go there.
See?
Ooh.
Hey, look, I'm from New Orleans, gotta stop it. So, I gotta stop it. I gotta relax. So, guys, that voice that you hear in the background, that's Miss Fern Johnson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. Culturally Distinct Podcast.
Hey.
I'm checking out Mr. Black Adam.
There it is.
Because you just recently changed your name.
Yes.
He did.
I know no
Yes.
other, so that's what I'm going to go with.
I like
might go
that.
India because we connected on several levels.
Okay.
So, you know,
Well,
we're good.
so y'all got an
Yeah,
East
we already
Coast
did.
thing
East
going
Coast
on.
thing going
Yeah,
on.
you know, yeah, absolutely.
Don't hate.
I'm not
Appreciate.
hating. You know what?
Okay.
Don't hate.
Be better.
Appreciate.
You better do
So,
something.
you know, this is supposed to be a positive podcast. I was about to be male against female. I had to reel it in.
Okay.
So I didn't bring out your credentials. So also, I don't know if you want me to mention it, but I gotta mention it because I got a video up.
Yeah.
I got a video. You know, former CTO of Pepsico Incorporated, right?
Huge.
So I was played the role of Vice President CTO at
Vice
PepsiCo.
President. Oh, excuse
So
me.
I reported to the global CTO, who reported to the global CIO, because
Wow.
it's that big of a company,
I'm telling you.
like 400,000 people big,
Wow.
102 billion now. So
Wow.
I just recently retired in February after 33 years, which I know you can't tell because of my youthful glow.
Okay.
Really?
Say it. No,
I
you're
thought-
beautiful.
So I thought you are beautiful. I thought you was like, honestly, this is no cap. Like the youngsters say, no cap. I thought you was like 35.
Just flip those numbers. And be between the lines.
All right.
Flip those numbers and be between these lines.
All right, I got you.
I don't want to talk numbers. I don't talk weight. I don't
Okay.
talk money. I don't talk age.
Ooh.
No numbers.
I like that.
I
That makes
like that
sense.
too.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Well, you know what? That's funny because in today's age, that's what it's all about. Numbers.
It's all about numbers.
That's the first thing. What is your body count? How much money you make?
Right.
Things of that nature. But I'm glad you said that. It's not about numbers.
It's not about
It's
numbers.
not.
It's about, age and state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, today, on Friday, if I can say the date, we have a little libation. It's 2 minutes to 5 o'clock.
Mm.
I'm feeling 35.
I like that.
I like it.
I like that.
And you're looking about 27.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes, I will take that,
You will
mama.
take
Yes.
You know black
Yes.
don't crack.
But it will swell.
That's right. And very well. Especially with some
That was
with some pork chops and
It will swell.
with some pork chops, some lamb chops, some oxtail. Definitely was swelling.
Oh, man.
So look, I love the energy. So let me ask you this, Fern,
Yes.
before we even get into everything. So how do you even get to Houston? I know you from the Bronx, but how did you even get here?
Well, let's talk about how I got to Texas. So, circa 2000s, I was working in New York for PepsiCo, and in the IT industry, IT department, I had two places I could go. I could go to Chicago or I could go to Dallas. And at the time, I had two teams, one reporting to me in Florida and one in Dallas. If I went to Chicago, I had nobody reporting to me. If I went to Dallas, I at least had one team I could be with, and I would travel to Florida. So I had two good friends of mine who lived in Dallas, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about coming down. They're like, total change of life, like total change of life. I'm like, okay, cool. So I said, I chose Dallas. It's been a blessing. So I'm really thankful to the good Lord that I went there. My parents followed me, my sister followed me. And because Dallas is the center, well, Texas is in the center of the state, it makes it really easy. And I've taken on a global role the last 10 years. So being in the middle of the state made it easy for me to navigate. And Texas is not that bad. I mean, you just have to not think about the politics. If you not think about the politics, but the quality of life and living, amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the people and the space, right?
Yeah.
Girl, I can go like this and not touch you.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So, no, love it, love it, love it. So, is it home? So now I've been here for 20 years.
Oh, it's home
my
for you.
goodness. It has to be, right?
I live here. Home will always be New York. It's where my heart is.
Got
I could go there with not a cent in my pocket, not a piece of clothing, and feel at home and make it work and make it happen.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dallas, Texas, I got to do a little work on that one. But I enjoy it here. It's been a blessing. My parents are no longer with us.
I'm sorry.
So I got to start right there before we go any further, because this is getting, I don't know when you pushing this out the door, but this is Father's Day weekend.
Yes, it is.
And my dad just passed away
Sorry to hear
on
that.
April
I'm
12th.
so sorry.
And he was my rock. And when I talk about how I got into this whole technology space, it started with him. So I want to be able to give him honor to Thomas George Johnson, who passed away at 85.
Wow.
For leading the charge.
Life, right?
He was in technology before it was called technology.
Wow.
I'm in technology, my sister's in technology, so he's left a legacy of leaders in this space. And just think of a black man in tech in the 70s.
That's unknown.
I'm telling you.
No
Unheard
one,
of.
unheard of, completely unheard of. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my dad and to all the, if you're a father, I'm not sure if you're a father, so happy Father's Day early. Oh, what? Shut
Grandfather, Papa.
I'm trying to do that 33 thing. I took 27, so you kind of messing up with the age thing, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
It's okay to eat.
It's okay, I can just go with it?
Yeah, you do with it.
Okay,
Yes,
Papa.
there you go. There you go. Yeah. Shout out to my grandbaby. Yeah. So look, so that's an interesting story because that is unique in itself. When you say your father was in the tech industry. Well, it wasn't even called tech. It was probably called computer science back then.
I think it was called telecom.
Okay.
It was just generically called telecom.
Gotcha.
So he was in City College in New York, and he was doing banking, and they were looking for someone to type in telecards, and they picked him, and he was like, okay, paid like $5 more. He was like, come on, Ruby. That's my mother's name. We're going to do this telecom stuff. But you know what? It afforded me an opportunity to learn a skill I didn't know. So we moved. So I'm a 70s baby. That's about all I'll say on numbers.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're going to stay right there, right?
That's fair.
It's in the range, right?
Right.
I like it.
And we moved from the Bronx to Connecticut. And when we moved to Connecticut, it was like going from Houston to, what's the country hick out town out here?
Like Prairie View or something.
Okay, so going from Houston to Prairie View, right? So you
Like
just
Redneckville, yeah.
totally crazy. Like, what in the world? My dad had all this network and all this computers in the basement, and my sister had gone off to college. I have an older sister, Chris, my beloved sister, Chris. And I was left to play in the basement with all this technology, not knowing what the heck I was doing. So I was putting together these big box, not laptops, computers.
Yeah.
And then, remember the Apple Mac? The first Apple
Yes.
Mac that had that little square,
Yeah.
that little square
With the
box.
floppy disk?
Right, the floppy
Floppy
disk.
disk, yeah.
I was putting that together, tearing it apart, not even knowing I was learning a skill. So when I got to college, they were like, well, how do you know this? I'm like, I don't know. So I just honed into that. And I didn't even go to school for computer systems, or what they would call CIS, or Management Information Systems. I wanted to be a journalist.
Wow.
So I thought I was going to be Sue Simmons. So for anyone from New York, shout out my New Yorkers. Back in the day, there was this badass sister. Her name was Sue Simmons, and she was on NBC. She had the perfect coif. She was probably a little bit like your complexion, India, and she just was beautiful, and she just really knew everything about New York City, and she was just like on point. I was like, I'm going to be Sue Simmons.
Got you.
I got to Pace University in New York, and they were just like, you're too dark, and you're too fat, and you're too tall. So I was like, okay.
At the university?
So you just pivot. Back in those days, the whole, oh my God, I had mental just wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't acknowledge it.
Right.
You just pivot to the next thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just pivoted to the next thing, and I did journalism, and I did public relations. I started my career in the music industry and PR. So I pivoted from, so I think I was going to be a journalist to doing journalism type stuff, doing PR work. And my mother was just like, yeah, that's not paying the bills, sister. Like, like you need a jobby job. And so I went out and I started to work for Pepsi. I took a step back to take a step forward and spent 33 years there all over the place. So it was a blessing. But it all started from me having that inquisitive of learning from the technology that was in our home.
Right.
So I think what's odd about that is, a lot of black folks didn't have technology like that in their home back in that
a
day,
lot of black people
right?
barely had TVs.
Yeah.
Right. Word.
Remember, everybody had to go sit at one TV in the living room.
And that's where you would sit, and watch TV.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, so you was fortunate, so I had paper. You know what I mean?
So I have a question for you. When it comes to your dad, like having that influence, rest in peace to him, did he actually directly teach you things, or was it just like your inquisition?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So I think he told us to be inquisitive, to go after what was unknown, to constantly learn. And then I was bored, so I just started playing with the technology out of pure boredom.
Wow.
Because in order to get, so when you were living in the Bronx, literally you could walk 100 steps to the bodega.
Yeah.
When you're living in Connecticut, in Danbury, Connecticut, in a house in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah. You literally are in the middle of nowhere.
Out of butt nowhere.
Yeah.
You have nowhere to go. So you were stuck in the house.
Gotcha.
So it was just boredom, and I just went and I just was like, oh, how do you play with this? How do you play with that? The applications are coming out like WordPerfect and Excel, and just I started playing. And it become that. So I had my own quest for knowledge and learning, not knowing that I was going to use it later. I had no clue. I was going to use it later.
So I know you giving me a brief, description of your, your life, but you say you took a step back to take a step forward. So you was in journalism, and I take it, you had a successful career in journalism, or it was.
I had no. So I left college. I was doing PR in the music industry. I was going from Connecticut to Manhattan. All of whatever I was making was going to commutation fees. I was making no money. So I went back and said, okay. So I was like, stop that. I did a marketing job in a company called Jelenko. It was a dental health company. 6 weeks into that job, they fired me. They fired the whole marketing department. They were crying. I'm like, I'm scared of the job. So that's when I went to Pepsi. So when I talk about taking a step back to take a step forward, I went in, did a land administrative role. I kind of knew enough to I wouldn't say fake it till I make it. I knew enough to kind of get the job and land that job. And then I learned from there. So I thought I was deviating into a backward step because I was going away from journalism and marketing. And I was doing this new thing called administration and technology, not knowing where it was going to unfold to. And
so they kind of created a job for you, kind of sort of. It was admin, but at the same time you had technology.
It was admin and technology all in one.
Oh, really?
And so that to me was like, and then within a year, I actually was picked up and I was put into a new role to travel all over North America to put in local area networks. So to actually put in servers and routers and printers and computers in our offices all over. I actually had the Southern California region, so I was traveling from New York to SoCal every week. Then I just moved out there for a year and did that program. So that's what really got me into the infrastructure side of technology.
Got you. So when you were developing that, did that become a passion for you? Or was it just like, oh, I know how to do this, so I'm just making money and I'm going to do me? Or were you thinking like, I kind of want to get back to, journalism one day?
I think once I started and once I saw the opportunity in tech, I never looked back.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
And then I started traveling. So I got the travel bug really early, and I preach this to all the kids who listen. Travel, travel, travel. Yeah. Especially if you can get a company who's going to pay for you to travel.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's free.
Yes.
99.
Absolutely.
FREE.
Okay.
So I got the travel bug, and Pepsi was having me travel all over the world. Well, North America at first, and then eventually the world. And so I really never looked back.
That's amazing.
I never looked back. And then the money started getting really good.
Right.
So you're like, well, why?
Well, why?
You know,
Right.
why would I do
Right,
that?
why would I do
Exactly.
So,
Why would I do
while making that money while traveling, you're a young person at this time. You're probably in your 20s, right?
I was in my 20s, yep.
20s. So now,
I didn't start making money, so the making money piece happened later on. In
okay,
the 20s, you just, I call it YDS, young, dumb, and stupid.
you just
Right?
having a good
You
time.
just learning, having a good time.
I got you.
You know, have the laptop,
Right.
have
Traveling.
credit card,
Yes.
have the bag phone. Remember the bag phone back in the days?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
the
my
bag
gosh,
phone,
yes. Uh-huh.
Out on the road, learning, delivering. So it was fun, and I was learning, and I was getting paid. So it was really just about the growth opportunity.
Gotcha.
So, how did you transition from being that to executive?
Great question. Ooh, that's a good question. So, so I told you it was 33 years,
Mhm.
and it took way too long. It took way too long, and we'll talk about why it took a little too long. How did I transition? So I was on a fast path of pretty much every year to 2 years I was getting promoted. And I had some great sponsors, and I had some great mentors. And so one of the things I talk to the young folks today, because I'm all about giving it back and paying it forward. So if you're listening right now, ferneffect.com, I'll be your mentor, Ace Mentoring, come join me. Come, I want to help you lead the pack, all those good things.
Free mentorship, y'all. Free
Yeah,
mentorship.
Get on it.
I'm
I
joining.
didn't say- I
Oh,
didn't say
you say
free.
free? Okay.
Free.
You
She
better-
said, don't go crazy. Okay. It's mentorship.
Okay. I'm like, I'm about to join that program right quick.
Ooh, we have kindred
Okay.
spirits.
It's enough. I'm telling you. That's what it is.
I call it a donation. Shout out to the donations.
But I started to have leaders who leaned into me and started to nurture me and tell me what I needed to do different in order to excel to a manager level. And then what I need to excel to a leader. So I have to give shout outs to props to black men who helped make it happen for me.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
first one is Ron Parker, rest in peace. He just passed away in February. So what's kind of traumatic for me right now is in the span of 3 months, I lost my lifelong mentor and sponsor and my father.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm all kinds of dizzy right now, but
Yeah.
I'm grieving. But he was instrumental in showing me the way to what leadership excellence looked like, what black excellence looked like, and being authentically yourself and growing into that. Because I was a wild child there for a while, and he just worked with me to refine me and refine me and refine me and tell me when I was wrong and tell me when I was right and then give me the space to grow. So that was mentor sponsor number one, Ron Parker. And you need someone in your camp to push you and then advocate for you when no one else is advocating for you in the company. And he had influence
That's
in my
important.
organization.
Very
So that was
Yeah,
cool.
how about that?
The second one was Robert Dixon, and he was the former global CIO at Pepsico for 9 years. And Robert and I belong to the same IT executive organization, ITSMF, Information Technology Senior Management Forum, a wonderful organization that fosters the development of people of color. And so we are inclusive, but we are unintentionally supporting leaders of color, accelerating so that we can break the barriers in technology and anyone can serve and lead. Robert, when he was being courted by PepsiCo, he had pulled me aside, unbeknownst, I had no idea who he was. He worked at Procter & Gamble at the time for 29 years. And he was like, hey, Fern, tell me about PepsiCo. And I was just like, oh my God, I love the organization because I'm bleeding blue. I mean, I'm loving Pepsico. I'm in love with PepsiCo, bleeding blue, all this kind of stuff. 2 months later, he turns out to be my boss's boss's boss. He is the CIO
Wow, he's the man.
he's the man, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, now you're my girl. And I got you.
Well, you had a connection.
Wow.
He brought you up.
That was a blessing.
And the
Girl.
total blessing.
Yes.
And so he was a great sponsor, and he was also great to say, Fern, this is the tape about you that's not allowing you to move any further. So he told me the ugly story of like, I'm going to put the mirror in front of your face. This is what people are seeing. No one else is telling you, but you're not moving, but this is what they're seeing. And this is what you need to change. And then he gave me the opportunity to change. He said, I'm going to pluck you out and give you a new experience so everyone can see a new Fern in a new era. And that's what helped me propel.
What you mean?
Wow.
What you mean?
So he said, you know what, for the next 3 months, so back in the day, our CEO was Ingenuity, very phenomenal CEO. And she had every senior leader do an innovation and growth plan. And that said, for the next 3 years, how are you growing your business? How are you innovating? How are you growing? What are you doing differently? What is just mind-blowing technology that you're going to put in place?
Wow.
So he said, I have to put a presentation together for the CEO. Every leader in every line of business had to do it. It would
Wow.
take about 3 to 4 months to get all of that information together. he asked me to be, and I think I was a baby director at the time. So I was a director, but I was like the baby director. He's like, I want you to lean in and work with all of my leaders, and for the next 3 months, you're going to be the program manager, program director, pulling us all together, working with every one of my direct reports, and you're going to help us put together the entire presentation to go to the CEO and present what we're going to do for our IGP. It was called Innovation and Growth Plan, IGP.
That's a big project.
I'm telling you. I was
So
gonna say, how did you do that?
keep your regular job.
Wow.
So this is what you call stretch assignments, and when you get these stretch assignments, the regular stuff doesn't necessarily go away.
It's still
You may get a little bit of leniency,
Yeah.
right, in how you get delivered, but you have to do that and then some. So I did it the first year, knocked it out the park.
Really?
Yes.
And all of those leaders, all of his leadership team was like, oh damn, I see Fern now in a different light. She shed her angry black woman, she shed her attitude, she shed her only my way, and she really leaned into bringing us together as a leadership team to pull this presentation together to present to Indra to help her show how we're going to do this.
Wow.
I got invited back to do that for 2 more years. And then it was like, okay, enough. Like, we need someone else. We need to give someone else this great experience. But that helped that leadership team view me very differently and see that I could take something and lead it in a different manner.
Yeah.
So it seems like you had like a different experience than some women that might be black in a Fortune 500 company that may be hated on by, your counterparts. Am I correct on that?
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
So I have a number of friends. I have my girl Tia in my head when I'm thinking about this, and she was just like, Fern, you were sheltered, girl. You were protected. You were sheltered. Everyone else had problems. I'm like, girl, I had problems. Because I had people who couldn't stand me.
Okay.
I had people who were haters, who were against, to this day.
Yeah.
We're always going to have haters,
Right,
right?
absolutely.
No matter
Yeah,
where
you're
you
right.
live.
Where you winning.
But it seemed like they weren't blocking your blessings, is what I'm trying to say, And if so, then please explain.
I think there were some that were blocking my blessings, and then I think as I got more confident myself as a leader, it didn't matter, and I could make and pave my own way.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
And so, what I think I did different that was that I would invite other leaders to consider is, one, take more risks.
Okay.
I think we don't take enough risks, and we want everything to be just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
before we lean into something. And then I did the jobs people didn't want to do.
Okay.
So what excelled me early in my career is, Fern, move all these data centers all over North America. I mean, it's grunt work. It's technology. You're learning stuff. It is working the weekends. It's pulling cables out of the data center.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah,
who
like
wants
you
to
said,
be
yeah.
like ass over, like pulling the cables out of the
Right.
data center? That's what I did. I got really good at it. And so
Right.
people are like, yeah, Fern will have, when the truck stopped rolling, if a Pepsi truck stopped rolling on Thursday, they would take their a big device, a T-Com, and get all their orders for the next day. Systems go down. Those trucks have to be up and running on Monday morning at 5 a.m., no matter where you're moving that data center. So I got really good at that. Nobody wanted to do that. Nobody wanted to do Y2K.
Right.
But so you just pick the thing. I chose and leaned into things that people didn't want to do, and it gave me wonderful experience, as well as the leader said, she has tenacity. She has resiliency.
Yeah, resilience.
She's
That's the
going
word
to
to
do the
use.
stuff. And then when they said, hey, go global and travel here and travel there, shoot.
You was out.
That was
Yeah,
easy.
right. That was the easy part. Exactly.
So I'm trying to figure out, because what you're telling me, because you're motivating me right now, because I'm in that director space, but going to the next level, I'm trying to figure out the brother who brought you up,
Ron Parker.
Mr. Parker, he saw something in you that you didn't see at that point, right?
True.
When did you say, Fern, chill out? You have a greater good inside of you, right? Before that presentation took place, what was that changing, that changing point, that turning point in your life? Or when did you decide to say, you know what? Let me lay all this attitude, all this frustration, all this
Right.
stuff out to the side and become what Mr. Parker sees me as?
I would say I can very vividly remember the moment. So in Dallas, Pepsico offices in Plano, Texas, and I had hit my 20th anniversary at PepsiCo. So these two brothers, this is how God works. We were sitting on the 3rd floor of this building, and my office was direct from Ron Parker's office. He was the Senior Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the time at PepsiCo. And diagonal to that was Robert Dixon, who was the Senior Vice President and Global CIO of PepsiCo. And their admins, and then my boss was 2 floors down. So it was 3 of us up there with a couple other people. It was like maybe 7 executives up at the time. And maybe I was a senior director. So I wasn't even a VP yet. I was a senior director. So Ron came out and said, I don't know, he'd seen me present something or do something. And he goes, Fern. And I was like, yep, because you know when Poppy's coming up with a lecture, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and he sit up a little straighter, and he was like, Fern, would you stop coming to these meetings like you have something to prove? You are already proven. You are been an executive at a Fortune 50 company for 20 years, 2 decades. You're already proven.
You have a seat
You have a seat at the table already.
Yeah.
Own it. Now, don't come, braggadocious.
Right.
But relax and get comfortable in the seat and drive change. And I was like, oh, damn. So that was an eye-opener for me, and it made me relax a little bit.
That's real, though.
Yeah.
It made me realize, okay, I'm here, and I'm proven, and I don't have to come. So then what it also did is it allowed me to lean into how do I get other people to feel the same way.
Okay.
The buy-in.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm no longer fighting for myself. And now in the last 4 years, my whole thing is about how do I give it back and pay it forward? Because I feel like it took me 26 years to get VP.
Gotcha.
I think you need good time. But does it have to take 26 years? Could you get there in 20?
Gotcha.
Right.
Right? So what can I do now to help that next generation get there sooner? So that's why I'm very passionate on the give back. And I'm passionate around helping the next generation, because if you can get to this level quicker, the wealth generation impact you have for your family, 10 times fold.
Well, you know what? I look at it different, though.
Okay.
I got a word. You ready for it? I heard this from Pat. I always have a word.
Do I need a sip of wine?
You can sip on that wine.
I think I'm gonna take one too.
But no,
Go for it.
but what you're saying makes sense. But sometimes how God works, and this is what I think, sometimes He could give you something too early. I'm gonna give you an analogy. It's like a baby with eggs, right? They're light, but they're fragile. If a baby carries them, what's the risk? The risk is much higher,
Right.
versus when that person becomes an adult and carrying the eggs, right? That's the same thing. If you get put in a position too early,
Yeah.
you're not mature enough to handle certain things.
I agree.
Yeah.
I told, and that's why I
I
think
don't know
you
if I
experience.
agree with that completely. And the reason why I say that is because I think as you develop and you are put into a situation, you can mature within that. You follow what I'm saying? Like you can actually, it's given to you on purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you look back at opportunities that we might not have had, whereas though you can have now, whereas though black women are seen differently than they were 10, 13, 20 years, 30 years ago. You follow what I'm saying? So I think that gap can be closed.
I
You know what
agree.
I'm saying?
I agree with both of you all.
Okay.
I do think you need some level of experience. So, have you guys heard of Harvey J. Coleman?
I haven't.
So he's a brother who wrote a book back in I want to say circa 1996, 95, 96. It's called Empowering Yourself. And it talks about the pie model. And I believe in the pie model wholeheartedly. So even though we're in 2025, the foundation for that he put really resonates today. So the pie model is performance, image, and exposure. Now,
Very
you would
important.
think that performance is the biggest piece of that. Performance is 10% of it, because it's table stakes that says you already know what you have to know to do the job. Then it's the image. How do I view India? How do I view Fern? How do I view Black Adam? What is the image that she, and how does she, how does she work, and how does the acumen, and how does she bring others along? What's the image? And then 60% is exposure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the point is, how do we expose our next generation quicker? But they have to have the P first. So if you come into it and don't know shit from Shinola, right?
You're certified,
green,
right.
but you're not qualified.
Exactly. There you go.
Or
You certified,
But you're not qualified.
But you're not qualified.
Yeah.
Then you get to the exposure part, and you fall flat on your face.
Right.
Right. Or if you don't look the part,
Right.
then it's like, people might not give you that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
makes
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's what is that called? A perfect storm. Having the pie, having the performance, the image,
And exposure.
It's a perfect storm.
And that's what Robert Dixon gave me, and so did Ron Parker, is that they gave me the exposure, and they knew that I had the performance. So, you know, one of the things that I think companies are good at doing with us as Black people and Black women is we constantly moving the goalpost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In corporate America, absolutely.
Constantly moving the goalpost. They helped me stay grounded, and they said, okay, you have what it takes, so let's just keep that path clear for you. And I really think that my faith helped me, because if I didn't have that faith, I think it would have been dizzier than a box of rocks.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have that guidance for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Amen.
that North Star.
Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
So talk about, you know, your mentoring now. Like, you
Oh,
know how you,
ace mentoring?
Exactly, because
Ace
I know you were
mentoring?
saying, yes, you were saying that it's such a passion for you. What women are you kind of targeting? Is there an industry or is there
So
age
my
range?
ACE mentoring is I call it ACE,
Okay.
and the ACE. So it's authentic, because I'm always going to be authentic. It's going to be relevant to our culture, and it's going to be experience based. So I want to be your ace in your corner. Let me be your ace in the corner.
Gotcha.
I like that.
Me too.
And I'll tell you, it's not necessarily just women. So I'm very intentional around helping the representation of women in tech. But my first client, Mr. Nick Ponder, and he said I could say his name, so state the name. Nick Ponder was a brother from Brooklyn.
Okay. Okay.
And he heard my story, we talked, and he was just like, yeah, I can learn from you. Like, I was like, I can learn, we can learn from each other. So he was one of my first clients. My next client was an Indian woman. She's a COO of her and her husband have a company, and she's in Plano. And she was just like, she's seen me at a number of speaking events, so we had a vibe already. And then I have a group of students, early career students, and so they are women. So I do two things. I do one-on-one mentoring, 3-month one-on-one mentoring engagement, and then I do mentoring circles. So mentoring circles I did at Pepsico, and the women's group there, our ERG, did mentoring circles, and it worked phenomenally. So you learn from within the group, and you learn from with each other. So in my mentoring circle, I have, and I'm just getting ready to close out the first session of it. I've got a young lady out of Alabama, and a young lady in London. And so the mentoring circle is just the three of us, and I'm going to kick up a new mentoring circle in July. So I really want to come. I love the fact that I'm bringing that global landscape, and so London's not global, but still, she's coming with a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're both getting their first roles. They're trying to both land their first roles in tech, and so it's fun to work with them on how do you use LinkedIn. How to use ChatGPT? Like, are you using ChatGPT? Are you using Claude? Like, Claude's my boyfriend. It's like, is Claude your boyfriend? Why not? Using Perplexity. So I love the fact that I can bring their awareness to different pieces of technology that they're not using. Yeah. And then for the other two one-on-one, they're more seasoned. So it's more finesse around what do you tweak here, what do you tweak there.
Right.
So, Fern, what is your purpose?
My purpose in life? Wow, that's a deep now.
Question.
Give it back and pay it forward to the next generation of leaders in tech. So my North Star right now is I want to have thousands of mini Ferns running around there, so when they say, I can't find the Black talent, boom, litany right there.
Gotcha.
I really want to help leaders in tech, people of color in tech accelerate.
Why is that so important?
Because the representation is not there. And I know that there's a wealth opportunity, the opportunity of jobs. 4 million jobs between now and 2032. 4 million jobs between now and 2032.
With tech?
4 million tech jobs between now and 2032, just in the U.S. alone. Wow. Are we, as Black and brown people, ready? And it's not for a job for Fern Johnson to have.
Right, because you're good.
Because I'm Gucci, you know, and I'm 35, flipped, right?
Yeah,
plus, whatever you want to call it, right? We don't talk numbers, right? Minus whatever.
Yeah, right.
So it's not about me. It's about how do I help y'all? Like this is your oyster. I mean, this is like there's a lot of money to be made, and for our people, our Black and brown people, if you tap into this, it is wealth changing. It is game changing, not just for you, but for generations. So I'm passionate around that because love on Tom Johnson, my dad, but he wasn't financially astute. He came from that generation where you just go to a company and work hard,
Right,
right?
Do your 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you. I wouldn't tell anyone to go to the company and work for 30 years. Hell no, no.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about it because I think we can change the game. If you get into these positions of power and influence, you set the direction, you set the strategy. That's huge.
So, I know Indy got a question, but I got so many questions in terms of this because it's a passion. It's a passion for me. And then being the leader for a long time. Do you think we have the cultural? I mean, make this up now. Do you think we have the cultural infrastructure to do that? When I say that the cultural infrastructure, we never had that.
So who's the we specific is black people?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think we have that infrastructure to start that? Because if all of us, not all of us, like this, say it's 13% of the population, but out of that 13%, we have 1% that's that's in that upper echelon. If we need to go to another percent, if we got 2%, can we even handle that?
So
And maintain it and keep it and pass it on.
I think we have it. What we don't have is we don't have generations of it. So we might just have it a little, you can't go 5 layers deep.
Mm-hmm.
So our Caucasian counterparts have 5-7 layers
Correct.
deep, right? Our Latino counterparts don't have that, 5 layers deep, or even our Indian counterparts don't have it 5 layers deep, but they work 5 times hard, consistently.
Right.
So I think we have the beginnings of it in our culture. The part that annoys me, I love my culture, but one of the things that annoys me is I still feel like we have a little bit of a scarcity mindset and not an abundance mindset. Yeah. We have the only one person can succeed, right? As opposed to all of us can lift up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when there's a person who's leaning in to help all of us lift up, we don't join forces. Like we don't lock arms and say, okay, this person's doing good for everybody. So let's move up with it. So
but
that's where I feel like we fall
But doesn't
short.
that go back to what you said about the exposure? If a person isn't exposed, they don't know what abundance is.
Amen.
And your abundance might be different from their abundance. Their abundance might be check for check. Your abundance might be whatever that number is.
Right.
So that's what I say about the infrastructure. It's like, because I look at everything as a mindset, right? But my mindset might be here at this point, but your mindset might be there. So if I'm trying to articulate something to this individual, do they have that capacity to receive it?
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I really think it also has to do with support. So if you have one person saying like you should do it, you could do it, you can, but you have everybody around you saying no, don't think about it like that and don't do it that way, then you may be thinking that this person is an anomaly because you're just surrounded by negativity. You know what I'm saying? So I think you really have to be, like you said, grouped in. And I like the fact that you were saying that you're going to be mentoring in a group, because to me, group settings kind of cancel out all of the
noise.
Yes. You know?
No, I think you're right. That support of how can the collective help each other and lift each other up. So it's interesting. I was just on the call this morning. So I have my call with my mentoring circle. I call it the Alpha Group. And I was like, hey ladies, we're kind of at our 3-month time. Like, what do y'all want to do? Because I kind of feel some kind of way. Like, I don't want to just let them go, right? But I also want to bring on my next group, right? So I said, well, so they came up with a great suggestion. They're like, well, can you do your work with them like you did with us? And about 6 weeks in, then we all come together. I said, that's brilliant. Yeah. So the group will continue to grow and build, but I get some one-on-one time with a new set of young ladies to help bring them up and kind of give them experience and exposure. So I do think that there is value in us staying as a group and helping us the collective, because there is a lot of noise out there, and there is a lot of opposing forces that we have to every day battle with.
That's good. Fern, look, I know you have a dinner you have to go to, and I can talk to you for 3 or 4 hours. I'm getting. You
just get warmed up.
I'm getting donated game. It's donated game. Okay. So, but we gotta get you out of here. But before we get out of here, I want you to give the people your information. How can they get in contact with you?
Sure.
And everything, like the program you have going on, the mentorship program.
So I'd love to stay connected. So maybe we can come back, or maybe come on my podcast. I've got a great podcast called Two Lit Chicks, Leaders in Tech. We're on podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're on Podbean. We're on Spotify. So it's 2 Lit Chicks, and it's Leaders in Tech. So that's the lit piece of it.
Oh, nice.
With my podcast partner, Dr. Alicia Makaye. So she and her husband own their own business in Dallas. I'm coming from the corporate side, so we've come together because we want to keep feeding into this, giving back and paying it forward.
Yeah.
And so catch me on the podcast, catch me on ferneffect.com, www.theferneffect.com, and that's where you can find my ACE mentoring program. I would love to be your ace in your corner, and I'm available for speaking engagements, sitting on panels, doing some consulting work, and really just help leading into this next generation.
That's amazing.
I love that. I love that. India, how can they find you?
Yes, India Thomas Johns, India_Thomas Johns on Instagram and through Facebook, also in LinkedIn and TikTok, all the same name. And you can find me on info@Thomas Johns Consultancy, LLC.
Can I reach out? No.
Y'all, you started with me.
No. Guys, you already know where to find me on that Culturally Distinct everywhere. Make sure that you guys tune in, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. This was a great show. And all my CEOs, future CEOs, directors, anybody that's in tech, make sure you reach out to Fern because I'll be reaching out to her also to get donated information.
Yeah.
Donated information, right?
That's not cute.
Right. I got a 501c3, all right? Anyway, guys, we gotta get out of here, man. Much love to my sponsor, 605 Adult Beverages, Rare Core Universe, Car Audio. Much love to you guys. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend what's going on. Also, a big shout out. I gotta give Craig a big shout out. Craig set this up.
Thank you, Craig.
Craig, he out there somewhere. Shout out.
Wherever you are, Craig. Shout out. We appreciate you, brother.
So much love to Craig for setting this up. But anyway, guys, we gotta get out of here, man. I love you guys, and you can't do nothing about it. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you
Happy
for
Father's
hosting.
Day.
Happy Father's Day.